The night Jefferson didn't write. History remembers the parchment, the flourish, the signature. It does not remember the delay. Thomas Jefferson did not stride boldly into destiny. He procrastinated. I was there, and he was stalling. June 1776. Philadelphia was heavy with heat and mosquitoes. The war was not going well. The British were not trembling, and Congress had done something remarkable. They voted for independence. And then, in an act of supreme confidence, they handed the explanation to Thomas Jefferson. Not Adams. Too combative. Not Franklin. Too mischievous. Jefferson, 33 years old. Tall. Brilliant. Quiet. And very, very slow to begin. You must understand something about Jefferson. He did not like confrontation. He preferred books to men, ideas to arguments, Monticello to Congress. And now he was tasked with explaining to the most powerful empire on earth why 13 fragile colonies were leaving. No pressure. For 2 days, nothing. He reorganized papers. He sharpened quills. He walked. He reread Locke. He stared out the window as if liberty might float past and introduce itself. John Adams grew impatient, which, for John Adams, is redundant. On the third evening, Adams reportedly knocked on Jefferson's lodging door. Not gently. Thomas, he said, the continent waits. Jefferson replied that he was composing. He was not composing. He was worrying, because once written, it could not be unwritten. Once declared, it could not be undeclared. This was not an essay. It was a point of no return. Near midnight, something shifted. Perhaps it was pride. Perhaps it was conviction. Perhaps it was the quiet realization that history does not wait for comfortable men. He finally sat. Ink met parchment, and the words began, not cautiously, not timidly, but thunderously. When, in the course of human events, that is not the language of a hesitant man. That is the language of someone who has crossed the threshold. Now here is what most Americans do not know. The first draft accused the British Crown not only of tyranny, but of perpetuating the slave trade. Jefferson condemned it in sharp, unmistakable terms. Congress removed it. Politics intruded upon principle. Jefferson was furious. He did not argue publicly. He rarely did. But he never forgot the edit. History is rarely as clean as marble statues suggest. When he finished the draft, he did not celebrate. He handed it to Adams and Franklin. Franklin edited gently. Adams defended fiercely. Jefferson bristled quietly, and then he watched as Congress cut and revised his prose for days. Nearly a quarter of it was altered. Imagine writing something that may define your nation, and then watching men with ink-stained fingers improve it. He endured it. Barely. On July 4th, the document was adopted. Not perfect, not pure, but permanent. And Jefferson? He returned home later that year and began designing a plow. He preferred agriculture to applause. Great men are not carved from certainty. They are carved from hesitation overcome. Jefferson delayed. He doubted. He revised. But when the hour demanded words, he found them. History remembers courage. I remember the pause before it. My name is Benedict. No, not that one. And some of the most important revolutions in history began with a man staring out a window.